This silly shirt here made me $300 of profit in a week. Not sales, profit. And this is how I did it. By the way, this is not what it looks like. I'll explain. Around a year ago, I decided to try starting a clothing brand business, and I was just barely profitable. I think I made like 20 bucks, but I was inexperienced and I had a tight budget back then, so I didn't continue. Didn't want to risk losing money I couldn't afford to lose. But it taught me something. If you have a computer, a phone, and around $100, you can start a clothing business. I have those things, so I decided to try again. The first step in this business is I had to pick a niche to sell in. Why pick a niche? Less competition and a higher chance of standing out. The general urban wear, everyday type of clothes are saturated. Tons of big brands with huge budgets that I'd be competing against. Plus, these days, minimalistic, plain, unbranded looking clothes are in. So it would be really hard to design some that both stand out and appeal to customers at the same time. That's just my opinion, by the way. I'm not an expert, but yeah, the niche I ended up choosing is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a martial art which focuses on submitting people with joint locks and chokes. In no-gi BJJ specifically, you have to wear something called a rash guard. Regular shirts usually get ripped up on the mats because it could be a rough sport sometimes. This is very hard to rip, so it's kind of a must if you're doing BJJ. I've personally also taken Jiu-Jitsu before, and something that I realized is it was rare to see someone in the gym wearing a plain rash guard. Unlike streetwear, people here love wearing rash guards with cool, funny, or quirky designs on them. This is my rash guard, for example. I would never wear a shirt with a design like this to go out, but I wear this in the gym all the time. Because I took it before, I'm also familiar with the jokes, the terms, the memes. I'm in the circle basically. So I was convinced I could make some rash guards with designs that would sell well. So the plan was to sell rash guards, but where do I find them and how do I customize them? The answer is a print-on-demand supplier. These are companies that let you put your own designs on rash guards or any clothes in general, actually. I would create the products there and advertise them separately in my own store. After I get a sale in the store, I would go to them, they create the product and ship it straight to the customer. This way, there's no need for me to get inventory, spend a bunch of money up front, or even worry about shipping. They take care of all that. And if you're gonna get into this business, it's the cheapest, easiest way to do it. It wasn't easy though, finding a print-on-demand supplier with affordable prices for rash guards, but I found one. I just had to do a bit of research. Then I just had to make the designs. Okay, this has been harder than I thought. ChatGPT didn't help me out here, so I actually had to think on my own for these. But I got it done. Let me introduce you to my catalog. The first design is this. Pulling guard has become sort of a meme in BJJ. It's lazy, it wouldn't work in a real fight, but people do it anyways, and everyone always laughs about it, so I put it on a shirt. It's funny because it's kind of advertising the fact that your jiu-jitsu is lazy and you don't like to wrestle. I never pulled guard, by the way, so I wouldn't know what this is talking about. The second design. As you know, part of jiu-jitsu is choking people out, but in a different context, this could mean something else. So the two meanings kind of makes it funny, or maybe I'm just immature, probably both. I have a few more designs too, but the gist of the store is rash guards with quirky and funny designs on them. I personally like the way they look, but what I think about them is not that important. What others think is more important. So I asked around. What do you think about my rash guards? Boy, if you don't get... At this point, after creating them, I had to buy some samples for myself. It's the only way I could check their quality, plus I had to advertise these myself, so it's gonna be hard to do that without actually having some on me. There was a little problem here though. The print-on-demand supplier didn't have good shipping rates for Canada, and because of that, it cost me more, and I ended up paying $144 US. It would have been cheaper and faster if I lived in the States, but what can you do? After the product arrived, it was time to move on to the next step, making a website. This ended up costing me $18 because of the domain, so at this point, I was down $162. Now, something controversial I've heard recently in the e-commerce space when it comes to websites is that for a new business you're just testing, they actually don't matter that much. Majority of the focus shouldn't go here. I don't know how true this is, but I've had stores before with top-notch looking websites that completely failed, and this store with the most basic looking site actually ended up making sales. Now, granted, maybe it could have made more if it looked better, I don't know, but all I'm saying is there's some truth to that statement. All I had for this site was product pictures, both digital and real, a product description with useful information like sizing charts, materials used, shipping times, stuff like that. Some reviews, and that's pretty much it. Very simple. The homepage was pretty basic looking too. Looking back at it, I should have probably included an offer like buy two, get 20% off or something like that to increase my average order value, but to be honest, I forgot. I priced the products at $28.95. This would give me $10.95 profit per sale. If you don't know how to make a site like this, by the way, just search up how to make a dropshipping store here on YouTube. There are tons of tutorials that walk you through how to do this. Anyways, this really didn't take me that long to make. And at this point, I had the product and I had the website. So it was time for the most important part. Marketing. Before, this is something that you had to pay for, but these days, if you have one of these, you can do it for free. It's called organic marketing, and it's kind of the way to go. The way it's done is you film some short form content that makes people want to buy your product. You upload it on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts, and if you do it right, the videos will go viral and the business can boom overnight. There is a problem with organic marketing though. I suck at it. The most I ever got was 2 sales on a product and a video with 11,000 views, which for short form content, those are rookie numbers. But my product has something called wow factor. This design stands out. It has cheeky humor, and that goes a long way on social media. Wow factor is a huge reason why some products make it and others don't. So even though I suck at it, I have to give it a shot. The first video is me pretending to talk to a girl and her saying, I want a guy who makes me feel safe. Then I show my 1 stripe white belt, which is one of the most beginner ranks you can have in BJJ, and that's the punchline of the joke. But of course, for the most important part, I also wear the rash guard for some product placement. I have to change up the music for copyright reasons, but this is the video. The second video is me getting pulled over by the police. The cop asking if I have any weapons on me before they search me, and then I show my white belt, while also wearing the rash guard. This wasn't my original idea, by the way, but in the organic dropshipping space, everyone takes each other ideas, so it's nothing to worry about here. Anyways, this is the video. I uploaded one more, but as per usual, they all flopped. No sales, not even a comment asking where they can get the rash guard, nothing. And I'm not gonna lie, at this point, I was stressing a little bit. But at the same time, people post for months in order to build up hype on social media for their clothing brand. I just posted 3 videos, so it's kind of to be expected. Regardless though, organic marketing isn't the only way here. The last time I tried this, I was able to make sales by getting shoutouts from martial arts theme pages. So since it worked before, I figured, let's try it again. I did run into a problem here though. A lot of these pages completely ghosted me. I hit them up with my personal account, and what I think happened here is they probably figured, who is this random guy hitting me up and why should I trust him to do business? So they just ghosted me. And smooth brain me, I completely forgot about this and I hit them up with my personal account again. And what do you know? They ignored me again. So instead of continuing to do this, I thought of 2 different options that could work here. 1, make an Instagram page about the brand, post a bunch of content in it, get some fake followers and fake engagement, and reach out to them. This way you come across as an actual established brand, but all of that is going to cost you money. 2, and hear me out here, use a girl's Instagram. The prettier she is, the better. This could be a friend, a girlfriend, a relative. Hold up, saying it like that sounds extremely sus actually. Pause. All I'm trying to say is a pretty girl's Instagram is much more likely to get a response than a guy's. I don't know why this is. I didn't make the rules. Anyways, reach out to them with it and claim that she works in the marketing department in your company and that they'd be interested in doing a paid story post. This is what I did. It's free and it works. game is game. The way I would screen the pages is by engagement, follower count, and follower demographics, mostly looking at what percentage of their following is from the States. The more of these things they had, the better. Some other key things I did here are I made sure to bargain for good prices. If I had to, I asked for the story to be posted only for a few hours because it made it cheaper, and I did something else. What else did I do? Oh yeah, I made sure the story was posted during peak hours. I forgot for the first one, but for all the other ones I asked. As far as the actual promo post itself, it was just a video that I edited really quickly showing the rash guards. Basic editing, nothing fancy. The competition in social media in this field is very low, so even something basic like this can get me by just fine here. So I had my video, I had the pages, it was time to put it into motion. The first day I spent $80, that brought in 22 sales, $636 in revenue, and after all expenses put me at a loss of $1.10. The second day I spent $110, which brought me 31 sales, $897 in revenue, and $229 in profit for the day. The third day I spent $60, which brought me 2 sales and a $38 loss, and I continued to do this for a few more days. On some posts I made money, on other posts I lost money, but at my most profitable point, I was up by $600 in profit, give or take. But then I took 3 back-to-back L's, bringing me back down to the $400 mark. At this point, I was seeing that theme pages are pretty inconsistent as far as results, and if I'm being honest, I think some luck was involved here. If those last 3 unprofitable shoutouts had been the first ones, I would have probably just cut my losses early and quit this whole thing. Luckily, they weren't. Also, it's pretty hard to scale a business this way, so I got a better idea. Let's take the promo video and put it in TikTok ads, somewhere where I can actually scale. So I did that, tested some things around, and I lost $100. So after all expenses, I now had $304 in profit. And to be honest, I didn't want to risk losing anymore. That money will go a long way for me in other businesses where I sort of know what I'm doing. So I decided to just call it here. Making a small amount of money with a clothing brand is one thing, but building a sustainable long-term clothing business is something else entirely. But $300 for a quick side project? Not bad.